What's up, everyone? It's Shaletta. I'm here getting a phone for one of my newly minted teenagers with Xfinity Mobile. They've got great options, affordable plans, and solid coverage that works for our whole family. With Xfinity Mobile, my daughter can stay connected with me wherever she goes. And did you know when you sign up, you can get an extra phone line free for a full year? Switch to Xfinity Mobile today for more savings, more smiles, and more ways to stay connected.
In Minnesota, we pride ourselves on our nation-leading voter turnout and safe, secure elections. Elections allow us to make our voices heard and stand up for the communities and issues we care about. To exercise your right to vote, first make sure that you are registered to vote. After registering to vote, make a plan to vote on or before Election Day, Tuesday, November 5th, 2024. Learn about how to register to vote, cast your ballot, find your polling place, and more by visiting mnvotes.org.
It's Not Your Fault is a podcast for parents, caregivers, and young people navigating the world and its challenges. Here's your host, Brandon Jones.
Greetings, everyone, and welcome back to another installment of It Is Not Your Fault, a teen mental health podcast. I'm your host, Brandon Jones, and on today's episode, we're going to talk about the benefits of school-based and linked mental health services. Those are two different things, and I'm going to explain the difference between the two of them, but I really want to highlight why this is important. First, a lot of parents do not know about the mental health services that are available within the schools or the school district of their children. Yes, a lot of schools have the ability for your child to see a therapist right there in the school or even sometimes right after school. This is a luxury. This is a huge benefit. And honestly, this is one of the turning points to mental health care is being able to have children who have access to their mental health care at their actual school. I think this is something that we need to champion and focus more on and have more accessibility for, because I do think this will help turn the needle in the well-being of young people is by giving them access to mental health right where they go to school. It's a very powerful concept. When I was a clinician, I don't practice clinically anymore, but when I was a clinician, I did a lot of school-based and school-linked therapy, and I've seen how transformative it has been for families and individuals, and even sometimes for the folks who work within education, the teachers, the educators, how transformable it has been to have those young people who can just see that mental health professional, that provider, right there in school and go right back to class or right after school and be able to go home after they have dealt with all those difficult things that they've held on to throughout the day. It is an amazing opportunity, and I want to share it with you all, and I want to encourage you all to start, if you need it, start checking out the resources at your school or within your school district, and or being able to advocate for your child or your children at their school or school district, because believe it or not, some schools don't actually have it, which is, surprising. It is surprising. I get surprised from time to time when I learn that there are school districts that don't have it, but I think that they all should. I think that they all should have it. And I think that there should always be access for young people to receive mental health services. So let's talk about the difference between the two. So one's called school-based mental health services. School-based services occur on the school grounds. It's when your child can receive mental health care directly during the school hours from an actual mental health professional. But this mental health professional is actually someone who does not leave the campus. They have an office in the campus. They're usually there multiple days throughout the week, if not the entire school week. And there's somebody who's kind of embedded into the school. So your child will see this person inside the school on a consistent basis. They may see them in passing time during lunch. They may see them at like a school activity, like a pep rally. This person is there. This person's engaging. This person is a part of the school culture. However, they may not actually work for the school district. They may not actually work even for the school itself. They may be a third-party contractor who just spends the majority of their time at the school. I've did that in Minneapolis public schools. I've done that for no, just at many a public school. The other schools that I've been at, I've always been a school linked person, but I was a school based person, and it was a different environment. It was a different engagement there when you're school based. You're much more part of the school atmosphere and culture than school linked. Now, school linked is similar, right? But instead of the mental health provider being embedded in the school, they're more external. They kind of parachute in and parachute out when need be. They may stop in for a few hours, see a couple of young people, and then leave. They don't really have a standardized space. They're not embedded in the school. They're more serving of that third party where they'll come in, see your young person, and leave. Now there's some flexibility with school linked. Sometimes people can do in-home appointments. So yeah, they're contracted to the school. They may see the young person at school. They may also see them in their home. Or sometimes the young person may be able to leave school. This is rare, but it can happen, and see this person in their office, or they kind of have a more of a flexibility where they actually meet with the young person. So school linked is where the connection point is school, but the place where they see the young person doesn't always have to be school. Typically it is. Typically they'll come in and they'll be, put in a conference room or a classroom that's not being utilized, or, a small break room or something of that nature where they can see the kid with some confidentiality and they can move on. So school linked and school based, those are the two different types of approaches. Now let's talk a little bit about what are the benefits of school linked and school based therapy for adolescents. The first one is early intervention. Sometimes the best intervention is what we can catch early, and sometimes those early interventions come from folks who are in school buildings, the teachers, the behavioral deans, the administration team. They see your kids almost every day. They see your kids multiple times a day, and they have perspective on what those kids are going through. And for them to go talk to the mental health provider who's connected to the school about, hey, I seen young, call him Jeremiah. We'll say, I met Jeremiah. He seems like he has some anxiety, maybe some stress. It'd be amazing if you could talk to him. Do you think you'll be able to reach out to their parents if we can get a release of information sign? That's typically how the conversation goes between the school provider and the actual mental health professional. And then from there, the school provider, because they usually have the best connection to the families, they'll go get the release of information sign, and that kicks off the process for the actual mental health provider to start the communication between themselves and the parents or caregivers. And then eventually they'll meet the young person, and therapy services are right off and on their way. So that early intervention and having that on-site professional help can be amazing, because sometimes it can be one incident and automatically that school professional knows, that educator knows, let me go talk to Brandon, the therapist, and see if we can get this person in, instead of waiting, making a referral that might not be responded to right away. And now, the incident that happened, may take a little bit longer for them to get in contact with the family versus having somebody right here, right now. So that's one, early intervention. Number two is reducing stigma. Yes, when you have someone that your young person sees on a consistent basis, they may give a high five or a head nod or wave hello in the hallways, or they may hear their friends talking about, oh, I see Mr. Brandon. Mr. Brandon's cool. Mr. Brandon, he knows a lot. Mr. Brandon helped me with these things. It helps to reduce that stigma. It helps to build some familiarity with the therapist, and this person's in a trusted environment, which is school. It's a big, big plus for school-based therapy, is that, or even school linked, is that stigma piece. There's a level that we don't have to necessarily worry about too much when that person is someone that they see around the school building consistently. Number three, accessibility, which we kind of talked about, but I'm going to dive a little bit further into it. It is so much of a luxury to have a student who can walk out of their second or third period class and have therapy. Think about how less we have to deal with travel, parking, traffic, finding the location, going back and forth for pickup, engaging with other people. The services can happen right there that day. And that's one of the most amazing things, accessibility. Your kid can have a situation that takes place right that day, and they can say, you know what, I'm going to talk to Mr. Brandon and see if he can help me with this. And guess what? If Mr. Brandon has time, he will see that young person. That takes a load off of everyone. It takes a load off the parents and caregivers, takes a load off the educator. Sometimes it takes a load off of young person's friends where they don't feel like they have to show up for this person in the moment because they have someone that they can go to that they trust at that very moment, which is the therapist. So accessibility is a huge plus. Parents don't have to worry about taking time off from work or anything or dealing with other children that they may have. It's amazing opportunity. The next thing is the consistency of care. The consistency of care is increased when you have school linked or school based therapy. Now, you might think, how is that possible? Well, you can see them on a regular basis. There's a good chance that your young person is going to be at school. And if they're going to be at school, that means what? They have the opportunity to see that therapist. That is a big difference between seeing somebody in the community, seeing somebody at a clinic. Like, that's a very big difference when they can literally walk from their classroom to where the therapist is at and get that care that they need right there, right then. So the consistency of care is amazing. And then also, this is a huge plus that many people don't think about, is the support for academic success. When you have an educator or a school social worker who can tag team and talk about how this young person is developing, what they're going through, how you're working with them to improve things, that helps to improve the young person's focus. It can improve their attendance. It can also improve their academic outcomes in general, because now you have a care team who's focusing on this young person, what they're going through, and how to help them continue to move forward. That is a huge plus. That doesn't always happen in a community-based setting or a clinic. Sometimes it can happen, but that's a lot of extra work for the actual therapist or clinician who's in that clinic or community-based mental health organization. But for a school-based therapist, it's kind of baked in already. Now, we don't always get compensated for that, but it's something that we do because we know that it's beneficial to our therapeutic process with the young person. And then the last thing, I already kind of talked about this. I'll tie in my last thing with what I just said. You get a holistic support network. So school staff, educators, the teachers, you get the therapist. Sometimes the parents are part of that support system as well, but there's a more holistic approach, right? They're all merging like Voltron to assist this young person. They're all coming together to assist this young person. They all have a common interest in making sure this young person gets what they need. That holistic approach is a huge advantage for young people and for families. So again, I'm a big proponent of school-based and school-linked mental health services. These are some of the benefits of it, and I want to encourage all parents and caregivers to really push to make sure that your child has access to these services, especially if you need them. And if they don't, be an advocate for your school to figure out a way to bring those services to their school building. I think it's imperative, especially with all we're dealing with our young people today. A couple of things that parents should know as we close out today's podcast. You should know that services vary by school. Some schools have more resources than others. Some schools are going to get more bang for their buck than others. So do know what services are available at your school. And if they're not available, again, advocate for your young person to get the help that they need. And that school does have a duty to make sure that they get the help that they need. The second thing that you should know is that there's a huge thing around confidentiality and consent. So make sure that you fill out all the releases of information necessary for all those people we talked about earlier to communicate about the needs of your child. That's going to be one of the key things to allow that support network, that holistic support team to give support to your young person, is by the parent or the caregiver giving access for that to take place. Advocate for your child, advocate for your child, advocate for your child. I can't say that or state that enough. If there's something that your child needs, the school usually gets some assistance to support that. Make sure your child gets the help that they need. Make sure people are paying attention. And then the last thing that I'll say, number 4, is just take a collaborative approach. Include the voice of your young person. Make sure you dive in as a parent and caregiver, and then make sure the school's doing their part. Everybody has responsibility in this. And I think school-based clinics and school-based therapy, and then also school-linked, force the opportunity for collaboration to happen for the well-being of the child. I wish that if Brandon could wave a magic wand and I had billions of dollars to spend, let's say $5 billion, I would redesign the school system where every school will have at least 10 therapists to service the needs of our kids. That's a lot of therapists. But if I had the money to do it, if I had the Elon money, I would definitely do it. So until then, I will give you the tips that you need to make sure your kid gets the advocacy that they need and the treatment that they deserve. With that, I'm going to share where you can find us on the podcast because we've reached our time for the day. There's 3 places you can connect with us. The first place you can connect with us is on our Facebook page. All you have to do is go to your Facebook, go to the search bar, type in It's Not Your Fault Podcast. You'll find us. You'll find these tips, other podcasts right there on the Facebook page. So go ahead and like us there. The second place you can find me is at my own personal website. So if you need to reach out to me about something or ask me some questions, just go to www.jegna.org. That's jegna.org, where you can reach and get to me directly. And then the third place, if you like what I've said, you're probably going to like some of the things that the other podcasters say on our network. And that network is ShalettaMakesMeLaugh.com. That's ShalettaMakesMeLaugh.com. Check us out there. And with that, folks, I'm going to wrap up today's podcast. And as always, be safe, be constructive, and be well. We'll see you next time. Take care.
To check out previous episodes of It's Not Your Fault, or to learn more about Brandon Jones, log on to ShalettaMakesMeLaugh.com.
You know Shaletta makes you laugh, but did you know Shaletta Brundage can also make you think and boost your business? Media personality, activist, and comedian Shaletta Brundage founded Shaletta Makes Me Laugh to celebrate and share the best of Black culture. It's a podcasting platform. You can download 10 weekly podcasts hosted by African-American subject experts at ShalettaMakesMeLaugh.com or wherever you find your favorite podcasts. ShalettaMakesMeLaugh.com is also a production house, creating broadcast-quality commercial content. And Shaletta and her team of storytellers create powerful promotional campaigns to get businesses the brand awareness they're looking for. Some of Minnesota's top businesses trust Shaletta, and you can too. Get out the word about your events and products and get in front of communities of color with ShalettaMakesMeLaugh.com. She's got the power to help your business.
COVID-19 cases are on the rise, and peak flu season is almost here. Save time and get the updated COVID-19 vaccine and your flu shot at the same time at Hy-Vee. Schedule your updated COVID-19 vaccine and flu shot online today, or just stop by any Hy-Vee pharmacy whenever it's convenient for you. No appointment necessary. Plus, when you get your flu shot at Hy-Vee, earn a 20-cent fuel saver. Your Hy-Vee pharmacy is here to help you and your family stay healthy.
The November election is coming, and adults with autism, you are eligible to participate. As long as you're 18 by November 5th, a U.S. citizen, and have no restrictions to court order, you can exercise your precious right to vote. There are many ways Minnesota makes this process comfortable for you. Right now, you can vote in person at an early voting center. Early voting centers are less busy in this time leading up to Election Day, which means fewer lines and activities. That may make you feel more comfortable. Or you can request an absentee ballot and vote by mail. That's right. You can cast your ballot without leaving your home. You can also vote without leaving your car. If you choose curbside voting on Election Day on November 5th, election judges will bring your ballot right to your vehicle. Once you mark it, they'll put it in the ballot box for you. Make your plan to make your voice heard this election season. Your vote counts. You can learn more at mnvotes.gov. That's mnvotes.gov.